All right, I'm live. Let's see if YouTube sends me my confirmation. Let me see if I can turn down the brightness here. There we go. No confirmation, but I imagine I'm live. It says I'm live. So let's begin. I'll start at the top here. I'm preparing for level 2. Can you just suggest some ways to increase retention of the concepts and to interlink through the same? Don't know what that last part means, interlinked through the same. Um, so when you're generally interested in what you're learning, retention is easier. But the best way to retain something is to teach someone. So I always recommend, imagine there's an invisible other person in the room with you who really doesn't understand anything, and you're going to teach it to them. And as you're explaining, imagine in your head them saying, I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. Once you can explain it, uh, simply so that somebody else gets it, then you'll understand it, of course. So there are lots of, I mean, even in our own Discord, we have level 1, level 2, level 3 channels. On Reddit, same thing. There are lots of people with questions. Um, Answer their questions. It's one of the best ways to learn is to begin teaching other people. You will learn because it uncovers all of your blind spots, especially when you have to explain it. Because when you're midway through explaining it, you might realize, wait a minute, I don't quite get this. Hang on. Well, what do I do next? So it forces you to learn it a little bit more. Something I would expect to see on a Drake album cover. Oh, the picture. Well, the original picture was it ends up being small on the screen. Uh, so somebody had made that picture through AI, and I had it in my download folder. I was looking for a better picture. I thought, I forgot I had this. Let me throw that up. um, Love your thoughts on filling a gap in one's life. Had a terrible father. Wish I didn't know him. Well, you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family, right? How did you find quality influence to model? I don't know that I did, really. I don't know that I had a quality influence. Um, no, I don't know that I did. Um, I had a couple of influences in my life, but I wouldn't say that they were role models in the sense that I tried to emulate them. Um, I wanted what everybody wanted when they were in their 20s, you know, girls and money. I wanted what everybody wanted. I wasn't really thinking about much beyond that. It's like, wouldn't that be nice? Win the lottery, and so you're not thinking about role models in that sense. I'd say the biggest influence came from a girl I dated um, and lost. That I then tried to become everything that I thought she would approve of, and on the way, uh, maybe that was the bigger influence. Although I don't wish that on anyone. You're a good human. That's no accident. I don't know if I was always a good human. And I don't know if I'd call myself a good human. Any chance you can get the green light from Serify to do another hat sale for charity at the end of the year? I don't have any more hats. I have, I think, maybe about 30 hats left. That's about it. Um, they're not mine. It's not my call. Um, I'm going to go ahead and say probably not, because it would require a contribution on their part to charity as well. I don't know if that's where they're at. in giving away money to charity at this point. Not that I don't think that they're good people who would be willing to do that, nor do I think they don't have the finances to do it. It's just it is a business. It is private equity owned, and I'm not sure that's where they're at. Otherwise, they would have done it. Otherwise, they would have continued on. I don't know where the hats are now, so I don't even know if there are any left. Do you still make CFA videos? No. I saw there was a big changes for level one quant and equity. I'm wondering if you were going to be involved in those new readings. No. No, no, no. Why don't you move to Vancouver instead of Calgary? Well, I guess that would solve the mountain problem. I mean, it would be right there. The reason Alberta is nice in Canada is because if I'm if I have any income in Canada, I think Alberta is the lowest taxed province to be in. Yeah, you need a Lambo in the back and some horns instead of the hat. That is a cover of the hood of a Lamborghini. You can see, well, you can't really see it right here in the nose, right there. That is the Lamborghini logo. You have to have an aluminum hood to get that done. I didn't plan it this way. It's just that when I sit this way, with the way it is behind me, it looks like the horns are coming off the top of my head, which I thought, okay, well, that's kind of neat. Now I'm getting a bear done on a Bentley hood by the same artist. So now I have to figure out, well, how do I hang the bear such that it looks like big claws are coming out of the side? So I don't know. We're gonna get the Bentley hood first, hang it on the wall just to see what dimension it is, and then he's gonna take it to a shop and do up some art. Have you thought about changing your office chair? The gaming chair seems out of place. It does now, doesn't it? I mean, these are placeholders, the furs. My wolves will be in soon, and I thought I'd put the two black ones on the wall and the black bear or the grizzly bear across the back of the couches. With the grizzly has all the claws. And I thought I'd put that across the back of the couches, but you're right. Now the gaming chair seems out of place. However, it is the most comfortable chair I've ever sat in. It's just perfect. So it took me, I don't know how many chairs I've gone through. 15, 20 chairs. Some chairs I buy, I sit in for a couple of days. No, it finds its way into the garage. I think upstairs in the garage, I think I have like half a dozen chairs just sitting up there going, nope, can't sit in this anymore. So, yeah, it does seem out of place. Maybe I can just get, like instead of this, maybe I could just have like a cover, a suede cover made for it, a custom cover just on the back, because that's all you really need, right? Is just the back support. Maybe you got a good point there. Why would you still consider studying for CFA program important despite recent decreased content quality? Well, when I say decreased quality, that it's my opinion, right? Other people may have different opinions. I liked the rigor. When I first came to the curriculum, I liked the rigor because I felt useful because there was something that had to be figured out, right? And it wasn't always easy sometimes to figure out some of the things. Now I find that I'm less useful because if you go through level one, it's like, well, there's nothing to figure out here. This is pretty straightforward stuff. There's really nothing to figure out. But once you get to level two and level three, even though it's less rigorous, what the value that, I feel that I could bring to it is the real world, is a whole bunch of real world examples of where you see this, where you see that. Um, so um, I guess rigor is what you make of it. I mean, you can take it for what it is, or you can push a little bit further, tie it to the real world somehow. Um, but as far as the idea of pursuing, let's not worry about CFA in general. But if there's any question about why should I pursue certain types of education, rigorous or not, if AI can just do it on its own. Um, AI is a great productivity enhancer for experts. It is a great replacer for non-experts. Which side of that equation do you want to be on? If you have the cognitive capacity, you must become an expert, which means you're going to walk through a lot of neighborhoods that AI dominates, and you're going to feel like, well, what's the point? You have to get through that to become an expert. Um, think of it in a different way. Um, when you were in university, in each course you were in, your professor was far more knowledgeable than you. Did you say, well, what's the point? This guy's far more knowledgeable than me. What am I needed for when he's there? Um, right. So, but then again, I mean, yeah, he's only one guy. Um, yeah, you have to go through it to get to the expert level. For CFA, I'd say it's still an equalizer, especially if you are getting out of one of the top 10 schools for finance, um, with an undergrad or a master's even. CFA is redundant, and probably won't help you very much. Your pedigree already does that for you. But if you weren't gifted enough, or lucky enough, or tried hard enough to make sure that their school carried you, you're going to need something to equalize yourself in the marketplace. The CFA is an equalizer because there is only one, right? In your personal experience, what has been the best strategies to get through extremely difficult chapters of your life where you perhaps felt there was no possibility of a recovery? Best strategies. Um, Good question. Uh, well, you're going to throw a pity party first. That just goes with the territory. Is you're going to throw yourself a pity party, and oh my god, life sucks. I'm never going to make it. I'm never going to get anywhere. Everything has passed me by. Everyone's doing better than me. What happened? I had so much potential, and you're going to do that for a while. Um, and then one day you're going to wake up, and you'll have had enough of it, where you say enough is enough. I'm done with this. And you have this long staircase in front of you. And the motivation sometimes is, I'm going to jump 4 or 5 stairs at a time. Like, I got to find my way out of this. And you're looking for the big home run hit. When you're looking at a long flight of stairs like that, uh, your goal is to get on the first step, whatever that looks like, which means the most adjacent thing to where you are that makes your life one step better. If you're, you know, unemployed, uh, and overweight, let's say, like, you get a job wherever you can, as long as it'll make you start feeling productive again, and it starts to get you an income. Doesn't matter where it is, you need to generate some cash flow, and then take one step to lose 1 pound. You're just trying to get on that first stair. Once you're there, okay, what's the next step? After you do 4 or 5 steps, you'll find that you'll have the motivation behind you to start doing 2 steps at a time, 3 steps at a time. No one is just going to walk up and change your life for you, unless you're female, 25, and really hot. That's just the reality of life. I think you know that. Um, that's just the reality of life. If you're a guy, that shit just not going to happen to you. No 45-year-old really rich woman is going to walk by and say, "Hey, what's going on? Why don't you come hang out with me?" That's not going to happen. In many cases, you know, women tend to have it a little bit easier that way. Um, I'm trying to think. There's been a couple of times where you went where I've ended up in places I really didn't want to be. Where you think, "Oh, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing here?" Um, you'll throw your pity party for a little while, and then you get on with it. Simple as that. I don't know that I would say that there is one particular strategy. It's if you're trying to dramatically change your life overnight, that's not going to work. What you need to do is incrementally change your life an incremental number of times. If you're trying to diet, changing your whole exercise routine and diet the very next day does not last. It doesn't hold because it's too dramatic a change. Is you have to take one step towards where you want to go. A small step doesn't matter. You clean your whole house by picking up one thing. One thing, that's your goal today. Pick up one thing. And then when you pick up one thing, it feels good. You got success. It motivates you to say, well, I'll pick up two things. And I'll pick up one more thing. Pretty soon you're picking up three or four. And maybe you say, okay, that's it. Next day you're picking up three or four and you're feeling really good. Within no time, your house is clean. And you can't imagine ever going back to the way it was before because now it's become a habit. You've been doing it for so long. So you have to get certain habits in your life. And it takes, I think, 66 days to form a habit, or is it? I think it's 99 days to form a good habit, 66 days to break a bad habit. So you have to have a certain amount of stick to itiveness. You change your life by little steps in the right direction. And life is a series of decisions you make and luck. Uh, 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 you know, uh, what I mean by luck is sometimes you leave your house 5 minutes later and you'll have a different day, or you leave 5 minutes sooner and you'll have a different day because most of life is random. And a lot of random stuff happens. You don't have to look for one big lucky event. There are many ways where luck will find you in the middle of the day. But the idea of looking for that one big thing overnight that changes your life, you will spend all of your life looking for that, um, because it doesn't exist other than a left or extremely far-tailed scenario that can happen. Probabilistically, it can happen, um, or possibly it can happen, but probabilistically not so. So decide that you want to be different. You want to be somewhere else. You want to feel different. You want to be respected. You want people to look at you different. Decide what it is you want. First of all, first and foremost, don't just say, "Well, I want to be rich, and and wear good clothes and live in a good place and have lots of friends." That's a fantasy. When I say decide what you want is you don't if you don't like where you are and you don't like what's going on in your life, what is one thing right now that could just make it better? One small thing, and do that. And after you do that for a couple of days, you say, okay, well, what's one more small thing that gets me in the direction that I want to go? And if you can do that, you're on the path. I don't know how long that path is because I don't know where you want to go, but you're on the path. You're on the path. Without knowing exactly what's going on in your life, I can't really, give you too much. When you say extremely difficult chapters, um, I mean, I've known a few people who have felt that they were having an extremely difficult time in life, and when you look around, you say, "Are you kidding me? This is what's getting you down. This simple little thing is getting you down." So I don't know what an extremely difficult time would be. Um, Loss of something takes time. There is no way around that. That just takes time to heal. If you're thinking about a loss of something, but if you're thinking more in terms of your economic situation, which is usually those are usually the toughest situations because they tend to open up options that you'd never consider because you have nothing and you need something and you're willing to maybe do things you otherwise wouldn't do. Um, Look, I know it's not glamorous, but there's always places hiring the pizza place, McDonald's, Walmart. At least it gives you sanctuary while you figure things out. Some place to hide that at least gives you a cash flow till you at least figure it out. You just need to relieve some of the pressure for a while. Do that. Um, you know, Stop wasting your mind on YouTube shorts and entertainment and stuff like that, and start figuring out, well, what skill do I have? What do I want to be? Where do I want to go? And start leaning into that. It is a sum of a whole bunch of little things. It's rarely one big thing. It is the sum of everything that you do. I don't know that that helps. What do you eat on a daily basis for food? Food. Do you have a specific diet you follow? Is it just whole single ingredient? Everything I have is single ingredient. Uh, right around between 1 and 2, I have the same, thing every day. It's, cucumbers, tomatoes, broccoli, black olives, and feta cheese. It's just a salad. I have the same thing, followed by an apple and maybe, some nuts. That's it, and then, I don't eat till later, and then it's usually, a protein, whether it be chicken, whether it be pork, whether it be steak, it's a protein followed by another apple. Um, and then at night, you get munchies. I have carrots. Um, that's about it, really. Um, you would think that would lean you up quite a bit, um, but as you get older, it your diet becomes more and more and more critical, because your body just holds on to stuff. It becomes much more difficult to lose weight later in life, like much more the sacrifice you have to make to get there. So, you know, there are, you can have your blood tests done and it'll tell you, what maybe you need to do. Because depending on what that looks like, it may be causing, weight gain or fat retention. I have another appointment next Wednesday for another blood test. As you get older, you want to keep doing that stuff. Favorite comedian who is currently performing, whether on TV, movie, stand up, etc. Oh, favorite comedian. Um, the the Daily Show on Comedy Central. I think it's still on Comedy Central. I don't know. Used to just be Jon Stewart. He only does Monday nights now. Um, I don't like him too much outside of that show because he's way too left and he simplifies things to make it look like there is no other solution than this and everyone else is stupid if they can't see that we should all be wonderful and get along. It's just not that simple. But his comedy routine is funny. And they have a great lineup. They almost every night they have somebody on that's funny. Um Desi Lydic is funny. Outside of that show, Bill Burr, I think, is probably one of the funniest out there. Which prep provider for FRM? I don't know. I'm unfamiliar with the FRM prep provider, so I couldn't tell you who I like and who I don't. I honestly do not know. Serify has an FRM um, program. It is listed on markmeldrum.com, but I've never really looked at it. It's David Harper's Bionic Turtle, and David was a smart kid. Kid, everyone younger than me is a kid. David's a smart guy. So if his legacy stuff is there, I'm sure it's good. But I can't give any assessment of it. I've never looked at it at all. I don't even know if FRM is really as popular as it used to be. I don't know. What has historically been your favorite video game console? Never played video games from a console. Um, Never. PC games, I mean, way back, games on a PC, sure, but no console. Where do we leave off? Whew. Sometimes you move the little thing, I don't know if you've ever seen it, and the whole thing just it tries to get all the way to the bottom because you can't scroll very well, and I don't want to miss any questions, so I scroll back up and let's see where we left off. Something about the way you presented things in your CFA materials that just went deep into my brain. I understood new materials seem to lack this. To me, would you ever make videos again? 2 points on that. I have a non-competition. That's pretty standard when you sell a business. You're going to give a 5-year non-comp right off the top. You'd be a fool to buy somebody else's business and not get a non-comp out of them. So private equity is no fool. Would I do it again? I don't want, I don't know that I'm at a point in my life where I would rule it out completely. Um, but it's not the top of my list, right? And I've done very well in life. That there are days where I think, how long do I want to do this? Do I really like building a CFA business, by the way? You're talking about sacrificing a lot of your life because to get all that content done is brutally difficult to do. Even with AI, it's brutally difficult to do. Do I really want to go through that again? Number one. And I have a certain type of personality where I can't do 20% of something. I can't just say, well, why don't you just do this? I can't, because then if I do that, it'd be like, well, I can do this and this and this, and pretty soon I'll have no life. Number two, and I think this is the bigger one. In a world of AI, I myself think linear video is dead because a year ago on Saturdays, I would go through YouTube and listen to all the podcasts I could. What does this person think? What does that person think? Get different perspectives. Maybe I'm missing something. And usually somebody will say something where I'll think, oh, okay, that's interesting. I see where you're going with that, and it helps me think as well. But you can only watch so much. You watch at 1.5 times speed. You can only watch so much now. With Notebook LM, I take the URL, I put it in, I say, what are the top 5 themes? What are the top 5 messages in here? And I'll read them. And I'll say, okay, I get it. Next one. What are the top 5? Oh, this looks interesting. And then I can ask, at what point do they start talking about this? And I can go right to that part of the video. I can get through 6, 7 times as many videos as possible because I don't really have time to listen to a full hour to catch maybe 3 or 4 minutes that I find interesting. So if I did a linear video for a reading, you might say, well, this is a difficult reading. Learning objectives D through F are difficult. Well, I do them A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and they're linear. So, you get to D and F and you're listening going, oh, hang on. He's referring to something he said earlier. I must have missed something earlier in the reading. You got to go back. You got to watch it linearly. I just find that to be, in the world of AI, a waste of time. just a waste of time to do the video and to watch the video. What I think is more useful is instead of having a video, have a stream. Now imagine that Monday nights was the quant night. Tuesday night was this night. Wednesday night was that night, and you just had different streams where you would just show up and you would ask questions, like perpetual office hours. And while you're asking questions, the answer is given to you along with how you could have prompted AI to have gotten that yourself, and how to assess the output. And maybe you're sharing your screen and AI is on the screen along with the thing that I draw on. Because I thought about, well, how would you do it in this world? So you'd have, me in one corner, you'd have my screen in another corner, you'd have AI down here and saying, okay, well, this is this and this is this. Now, how would we have asked AI this question? Let's type that in to make sure that we get it. Now let's assess the output. Something like that, so that you then get more practical advice as opposed to here's a fish, here's a fish, here's a fish. It's like, here's how you fish, here's how you fish. That's sort of the way I would think about it. But I don't know. What jobs did you have before becoming a professor? None. Um, I was always in the education system. Jobs I had were GA, TA, RA, anything that worked in the university, or in the early part, my graduate was always bars or restaurants, because that's where the tip money was. That's where the money was, right? And when did you really become financially independent? 14. By financially independent, do you mean paying my own way in life and not relying on anybody to pay it for me? 14. Um, yeah, by the time I was 19 or 20, it's just how things are done. People who lived at home, like students, when I went to university, people who still lived at home, I thought, it must be nice. It must be so nice. That must be nice. Um, but if you mean financially independent in the sense that I don't have to worry about where the next bill comes from, ah, where you could just get what you want whenever you want without looking at the price, mid 40s, I'd say, was when money stopped to matter. um, why did you leave university career? Any particular memories or moments you remember? I left because the CFA stuff was getting to be too big, and taking up way too much of my time. And in the end, I was losing interest in a changing student. The student by 2016, mid teens, was less qualified, was less engaged, didn't really care. Um, you just saw the engagement of the student over like just even a 10-year period just dropped significantly. It's like, well, what am I doing? Why am I wasting my time? You don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. Any particular memories or moments you remember? Not really. No. Like any particular moment? Not really. No. Currently working as a financial analyst in Toronto in the food retail industry, and want to ER, break into emergency rooms. I assume the most logical path would be through consumer staples. Oh, equity research. Logical path through consumer staples. Well, I mean, you already have the background for it, right? Food retail. Yeah, you already have the background for it, so that would seem to be the most logical avenue. How do you get so many things done and stay so level-headed? Um, Don't know that I'm level-headed. Um, I don't know how to answer that because I don't know how else to be. What mental models have you found useful in life? Again, I don't know how to answer that one because I don't know what you mean by mental models. Um, my view of life is very pragmatic. Um, I don't live in a world of should, of people who navigate life like saying people should be nice to each other. This should happen. These should happen. We should all just get. We don't live in a world of should, not at all. We live in a world of is, and you have to understand that um, there are certain truths about humans that as soon as you come to accept, you're going to navigate a lot better. Um, so it's you know if you describe people and the world as they are, and navigate that world, you don't fall victim to these big fantasies about how everything's going to work out well because this is what should happen. We don't live in a world of should. We don't live in a world of justice. Things aren't fair. Tough. There's no one out there. There's no fair judge out there that's going to say, "Oh, that wasn't fair. Let's make that fair." That's not going to happen. Um, and then you have to have some belief in who you are and what you are. Um, it's sort of nebulous, mental model to be found useful. I think that would be about it. It's very pragmatic. Uh, um, and I'd say here's one thing that you can adopt, that I think has probably made the biggest difference for me. If I think about all the characteristics, all the personality characteristics that you have, there's one above all I find, that wins out, is your locus of control. Is to have an internal locus of control, not an external locus. So an internal locus of control, here's the big difference. You're walking down the street and you trip on something. Internally, you say, "Oh, God, I wasn't paying attention. That was stupid." External is like, "Look at this. Who did that? They didn't build a sidewalk right. Look at this." Because it's not your fault. It's somebody else's fault. Well, when it's not your fault, there's no need to be careful next time. There's no need to change. And you'll trip on the sidewalk again because you're not paying attention. And then you'll blame someone else. And then you'll trip on the sidewalk again and you'll blame someone else. Or you'll say, "Look, I got to wait for this thing to happen," as opposed to you getting up and making it happen. There's a difference between internal and external locus of control. With an internal locus of control, you take responsibility for your own failures because that's the only way you're going to grow. And you also take responsibility for your own successes because you made it happen, right? So I think that's sort of, I wouldn't call that a mental model as much as an orientation in life. I'll be able to save 400K over the next couple of years. Nice. Would you recommend deploying a certain percentage between ETS mutual funds and specific stocks, or going with 100% individual equities? I know nothing about you. I'm sure you've heard me say this many, many, many times when people ask questions. I know nothing about you. I don't know what your goals are. I don't know what your income is. I don't know what your wealth level is. I don't know if you're married. I don't know if you have kids. I don't know what your debt levels are. I know nothing about you. There is no possible way that I could give you any advice on what to do other than this. If if you don't know what you're doing in Mr. Market, it's best it's best to either just have ETFs or find a money manager that you trust, which usually would be attached to a big bank. Almost about to finish Crime and Punishment. Oof. Raskolnikov. Should I keep going down the Russian lit route? Well, if you like it. But I mean, when you say should I keep going down, well, why? Um, is it to um, broaden your intellect? Is it to be more interesting? Is it because you enjoy it? If you don't enjoy it, don't do it. I enjoyed it. Um, what are some of your favorite books? Favorite of all time? That's a tough one. If we're talking about, literature, that's a tough one. Anna Karenina was probably one of the best, although Dr. Zhivago, not the forget the movie, I mean, read the book. Dr. Zhivago was really good. I'd read that again. What do you do with your house in Canada when you're in Costa Rica? I have somebody that works here, shows up every day. Do you still have to pay taxes on it? Well, you gotta pay property tax, yeah. You gotta pay your insurance, you have to pay your utilities. I mean, it's still an expense, yeah, yeah. Is there a way to reserve a spot for Costa Rica weeks? Um, August, September are the last 5 weeks. September's booked, completely. I have 15 spots for August, 4 are already booked, so I only have 11 spots left for August. So you just have to email me. Also, I really appreciate the work you put in creating the weekly market outlooks into it. I don't know what that is. What advice do you have for recent college grad wanting to be a market master like you? Well, I don't know that I'd call myself a master. I think everybody out there is always a master in training. Um, I think very few reach the level of master Jedi. I studied computer science at a top 10 public school, interested in using AI for finance, level 2 candidate. Well, listen, there is the science of finance, of which, CFA will cover that for you. And then there's the art. And any craftsman will tell you the art just takes time, right? It takes years to develop your craft. You need the science of it, much like every artist needs to understand brushstroke, color, all the science of art itself, of doing that. But then there is just something that is unique to the person. Um, so it takes time and experience. I would say that the most important thing you can develop is not strategy but process. If you have process, an average person can do very well. No process, a great person might do okay. Um, but process will do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. What was your favorite advice you got in your late 20s? If I can remember my late 20s and then remember advice that I got in my late 20s. Um, that's a good one. My late 20s. Uh, I couldn't tell you. Um, no, I don't, I couldn't come up with any one particular thing. Sorry. Um, do you work out, and if so, how often? What is your diet like? I have a gym downstairs, like it's a full commercial gym. Um, I try to do it. I try every day, but I'll tell you something. It's work. Like you're sitting up here, and it's like I should go work out. So you got to try to find ways to motivate yourself, because the gains are long gone. You'll have gains till your late 30s. You'll be your strongest in your late 30s, and then you'll go sideways, and then you'll start losing. That's normal. When you're 49, you're not going to lift what you lifted at 39, which means you have to find some other way to motivate yourself, because the gains are gone. The gains are addicting. Once the gains leave, it's work. So, the background picture is getting better and better every day. I'm taking CFA level 1 in my junior year. What do you think will benefit me? Do you think that will benefit me? I'm aiming for equity research roles. Well, sure. If somebody said, "Look, I want to undertake a process to better myself. Do you think that's worth it? Yes. Yes, I do. But if your goal is to just get by, if it's like, "Oh, well, I just wanna get that thing on my resume, level 1," and you're gonna approach it like, "Oh god, this is so boring. I just wanna get by, I just wanna get by," and you just enough to pass, good enough, then no, it's a waste of time because that's not gonna get you through level 3. Remember, at every moment through your CFA journey, you are preparing for a level 3 exam because you can't get the 3 letters without getting past level 3, and you're not gonna memorize your way past level 3. So, you may as well internalize as much as you can at level 1 and level 2 because you're gonna need it at level 3. You're not gonna memorize your way through. So, you're not preparing for a level 1 exam, you're preparing for a level 3 exam. It's just you gotta get through 2 other exams before you actually write that one. Think about it that way. And if anything is worth doing, it's worth doing well. Otherwise, it's not worth doing, right? Um, you look jacked. That's because I got a shirt on. I have this 4x4 matrix that I use dressed, undressed, lights on, lights off. Um, with the lights off, dressed and undressed, I look great. I look fantastic in the dark. With the lights on, dressed, I look okay. It's the lights on undressed part that I just haven't been able to check that box yet. So you're just seeing lights on, dressed, so I can get away with it, but not the other way around. Um, are you still personally involved in updating CFA level 3 materials? No. Or has the work mostly been delegated to other certify? Yeah, yeah. You've got to pass the torch at some point. Struggling to really cement myself in finance profession. Feel like I need direction on what to pursue education wise. Already completed CFA and CAI. You need guidance on what to pursue for future. The real world. Enough with the books. Enough with the letters behind your name. At some point, you're just showing off. It's easy to add letters to your name because they're all academic. Enough with it. Get out there in the real world. And if you say, well, I don't have a chance to get out in the real world, yes, you do. There are thousands of companies, all with financials, all that you can write an equity research report on. There is AI to help you along the way. There is AI to give you a template for how you would write a research report. There are paper accounts everywhere where you can start building a portfolio, start trading, and you can actually show your performance over time. There are many things you can do. But enough with the books, enough with the letters, enough, I say. Like, I mean, you've got the right credentials down, you know, now it's time to jump in the water and start swimming. You're not going to get anything more out of books. It's not going to make you any better at this point. You've got what you need. Get out there. Struggling to really. We did that. Have you ever slammed 2 chocolate bars in a row? Have I ever done that? Come on. Try 4, 5. This is why I don't have chocolate in the house. I am weak. I am weak. I am weak. If there's chocolate in the house, my thinking is the sooner I eat it, the sooner the temptation is gone. Then it won't be there anymore. So I eat it all. No, I cannot have chocolate in the house. Yes, I have. Of course, I have 2 in a row. I wish I could have stopped at 2 in a row. Way back, if there was chocolate, I would just eat it. I wouldn't stop. Even if it was 6 or 7 throughout the night, I would just eat them. Uh, Taking my CFA level 2 exam tomorrow. Any last minute advice? Well, you know what you know now, right? I don't know that I have any last minute advice other than relax, breathe deep. And yeah, I do actually, you know what? I do have some advice. Even though it's a timed exam, it's not a speed reading contest. You don't have to speed read through the question. Read at about 75% of your normal speed. Read for comprehension. You won't run out of time. You will not run out of time because there are too many words to read. but you will fuck up really badly if you speed read your way through this stuff because you're going to miss these little words here and there, these little nuances that are important. Slow down. Even if you only get through 80% of the questions that you've read them and answered them correctly, is better than speeding through all of them. You will mess up badly if you speed read. The questions are designed around that. The questions are designed that way that you will miss some small little thing that ends up being a big thing for the question. Slow down. Love or money if you had to choose one. Can I love money? Love or money? It's not as easy as you think. And it's not a shallow question either. There is a certain economic reality to life that you have to cover. Otherwise, you're of no use to anybody else, right? Secure your own mask first. Um, so many relationships, I think, um, end up in trouble over finances because it's stressful, right? It is hard to um, feel good about yourself and your situation when you're always struggling to get by. Now, money, you hear it say, doesn't buy happiness. That's not entirely true. Um, Money buys away all the little shit that happens over the course of your year or your month or your day that would otherwise maybe take you down and ruin your day and ruin your relationships and cause you to be more emotional than you need to be. Um, so there's a certain amount of money that does buy happiness because it gets rid of that shit. And you're of no use to anyone else unless you're of use to yourself. So there's a certain amount of money that you need, first of all, to be able to say, my life is open to love. Otherwise, otherwise it's going to be difficult, right? Nobody wants that. That an otherwise good relationship might be ruined for the simple reason that financially it's just too much. It's just too much. I can't afford it. I'm broke, right? So um I would I in the world we live in, again, there's an economic reality to the world we live in where, unfortunately, to have love in your life and to really let love blossom, you're going to have a certain level of economic independence from the vagaries of the world, a certain amount of economic distance from the bullshit that can take you down every day. What that money is, I don't know. But is there a difference between 20 million and 40 million? Not really. Is there a difference between 1 and 10? Yes. But between 20 and 40, not really. Between 40 and 100, not really. Not really. If you can't figure things out at 20, 40 is not going to help you. One eh, is in this world, one oftentimes doesn't even get you a condominium, a small condo. One really isn't that much. There is a big difference between 1 and 10. And if you can't figure life out at 10, if you can't be happy at 10, if you can't love at 10, you're not going to love at 20, 30, 40, 50. Right? There comes a point where it just doesn't matter anymore. But I don't know that I would divide it as love or money. Love doesn't pay the bills. Love doesn't feed you. Love doesn't put clothes on your kids and put them in good schools. It just doesn't do it. Money doesn't buy you love, but money does at least give you the foundation upon which you can be open for love. That's about the best I can tell you. So it's not one or the other. It's both up to a certain point. What do you think about ABK or desktop? I use it. I like it. Would you choose to live in Australia or USA? Australia, hands down. And not that I'm being negative about the US. Australia is a Commonwealth country. I think it has a lot of similarities to Canada. It would feel like it's more at home. I've lived in the US. It is a very different attitude in the US versus Canada. There is a cultural difference between American viewpoints on society versus Canadian viewpoints on society. We live under very different constitutions as well, and very different political systems. So there is a difference in things. And in the end, the one thing that I could not get comfortable with when I lived in Cleveland um, is just the sheer amount of gunfire and the sheer amount of guns. Um, it's just I get how that culture came to be. I get the frontierism of U.S. history, and how the man with the gun became an important thing in the independence of America. I get how it was part and parcel of how the country grew. I get that, and I get that it is enshrined in the Constitution. But it was enshrined in the Constitution as a way to make sure that tyranny never showed up again. I don't know that anybody who wrote the Constitution could have foreseen the type of weaponry that is available today, and just the sheer amount of death and destruction caused by bullets in the U.S. More so than any other country that is not in a civil war. Um, I get the culture. I'm just not comfortable with it. I would rather not. So, USA or Australia, it would be Australia. Having said that, I mean, I was considering buying hey, little birdie. Oh, okay, you're going. I was considering buying a house in the US, but I think I'm going to wait until after this administration is gone. I just you know, uh yeah, I'll wait until this administration is gone. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not insulting the US in any way. It's just a culture that doesn't fit with me. I've never owned a gun, never want a gun, and I've never been confronted with a gun. I've never had one pointed in my face. I've never had to dodge a bullet. I've never been anywhere where bullets are flying. Well, that's not actually true. Sorry. Um, Somebody fired off a gun in the apartment building I was living in, right outside. Right out, I was on the main floor, right outside my window in the back parking lot. Four bullets in a row, bang, 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 bang. I hit the floor. It's like, holy shit. I just hit the floor right away, and I stayed there for a while thinking, "Is it over?" You're crawling through the living room to say, "Well, I need to get to the safety of the bathroom." I mean, at least it's inside, but yeah, so I was close, but I mean, I didn't see anything. I did see a dead guy on the ground with a tarp, not so much a tarp, but something over him, and cops around, and so I did see that. Um, yeah, it's just a culture that, I'd rather not. That's all. What gives you purpose? How did you find it? Um, Teaching gives me purpose. I really enjoy it. Um, how did I find it? Just early in university, I was a TA. I think in my third year, uh, because I was working in restaurants, but I saw this opening for a TA. And I thought, okay, I'll do that. I mean, what do I got to do? Grade some papers? I'll do that. But then you had to hold office hours, answer questions, and I found that I had a particular skill for it. So I started tutoring at the same time, and I did a really good business tutoring through university, almost as much as I was making in restaurants. It was pretty good. Um, yeah, and then I just stuck with it. I just thought, yeah, this is fun. I like this. What do you think of what Carney is doing in Canada? Well, here's the thing. If you don't tell me what he's doing, I don't know what he's doing unless I go and look at what he's doing. With Trudeau, you knew every freaking day you knew, because it was just out there, and some of it was ridiculous, and it was just out there. And sometimes it would just you'd hang your head and go, "Oh, for Christ's sake, this fucking kid! Somebody get him off the world stage. This guy's an embarrassment." And the amount of times he cries in public about, "Oh, I'm so sad because of these people 300 years ago were treated so badly. I apologize." Fuck off, punk. Um, Politics you should rarely ever hear about. When it's in your news feed every single freaking day, there's something wrong with politics, right? With Carney, you almost have to say, what's that guy up to these days? You don't have these big disagreements. You don't have this polarization in the population like you used to with Trudeau. He polarized the population. Carney, he's in the middle, left but in the middle, and reasonable. And when I do read about some of the things he's doing, I think, okay, well, that's reasonable. That's reasonable. I don't mind these things. So I like the guy. I heard you say good things about him here and there, but would like to hear more about your opinion of him. I think he's doing a good job, considering what he inherited, considering a country that was so divided, right? And he was divisive. He was a hypocrite. He was a raging narcissist. He felt a different set of rules applied to him than anybody else. Sound familiar? And he really, really was only successful because his father was a good prime minister. That's not hereditary. He won on the strength of his father's last name, not his own. Sound familiar? His last name starts with TRU. Sound familiar? These guys are the same. And he was an extremist, right? An extremist who felt that Brand Trudeau was more important than Brand Canada, which was more important than Brand Liberal, or actually Brand Liberal before Brand Canada. But sound familiar? It wasn't the Liberal Party anymore. It was the Trudeau Party. Sound familiar? These are the same people. These are the same people. I just hope my neighbors next door decide to kick out the extremist and stop in the middle. Like, just stop in the middle. Find someone and stop in the middle. It's so refreshing because suddenly you're not talking about politics anymore because there's really nothing to talk about. It's like, well, what else do you want the guy to do? He's doing this. Yeah, well, that sounds reasonable, All right. Take my level 2 exam. Did that CFA worth the investment given the rise of AI? Yes. You have to become an expert. You have to become an expert, or then nothing is worth it in the world of AI. Right. I work at a bank, and the business is big on leaning into the data center sector. Where do you recommend getting resources, up-to-date information on data centers? You're kidding, right? You have the applied level. My God, the amount of content I produced for that, understanding semiconductor substrates, understanding data connectivity, understanding memory. I think I did a whole thing on data centers. I'm working on AI data services. Let me see what I got for you here. Let's go to sector studies. Let's go to IT. Where is information technology? Let me read off what we have here for you. Understanding quantum computing, understanding data center connectivity, understanding digital infrastructure, semiconductor substrates, AI data services. I even have Bitcoin mining in there. That's right. There's a whole bunch. Understanding cybersecurity, understanding semiconductors. Those are videos. But they're up there. I got a lot of stuff. Lots of stuff. One thing that'll jump out at you very quickly is very, very few firms are profitable. Very few, or will be. So your bank is more than likely going to lose money on some of their loans. Do you ski or snowboard? Ski. Have you heard of High Rocks, and would you buy it? Never heard of High Rocks. What do they do? Where's my screener? Well, you didn't give me a ticker. Never mind. I was just gonna type it in. I don't know what they do. Thoughts on Nike? I sold puts on Nike today. Only five at the 44 strike for $2. How do you determine when the put premium is worth the risk? You really don't know. It's a decent enough dividend yield. They're not in trouble in the sense of cash flow or profitability. They're what you would refer to as deep value right now, which means you need a turnaround catalyst and patience. And at this price, I think it's only going to attract more activist investor attention. It's not going away. The question is, what's its role in the world going forward? Hope you're happy and healthy. I am. Well, I'm happy. I don't know if I'm healthy. I think I have two issues. I don't know what they are. I think my liver hurts. That's a reference. If you are Trump, what are your next market-related moves after putting another 5,000 troops in Poland today? Who knows? Who knows? This guy is in a position to make money because he sets policy such that his bets win. So it's a matter of I want to go short copper. So what I'll do is I'll remove all import duties on copper tomorrow morning. I'll say, you know what? Let's get rid of all these import duties on copper, but he'll short copper first. And then copper will plunge. And then he'll cover his short position and then wait 2 weeks, go long and say, you know what? I changed my mind. Tariffs back on copper. So he can set policy such that his trades work out. And he doesn't give a shit. He does not give a shit. No matter how obvious it looks, he doesn't give a shit because he's going to pardon himself, his family, and all his inner circle on the way out the door. This is a license to steal, and steal he will. Period. So who knows what his next trade is? His next trade, put it this way. Whatever his next policy statement is, I want you to think about, well, what trade would you have been in such that policy statement would have made money? That's the trade he was going to be in. Nothing is said or done without making money on it. Not this guy. It's who he is. Any updates on more analyst programs in the applied level? Semiconductor analyst series would probably be in demand right now. Time. I mean, to do these well, no. I don't have the time to do them all, no. What's your favorite recipe to cook? I don't cook, I assemble. I don't cook. L2 although I do ribs quite well when I want to. They take about 6 hours to do. They take a long time. There's like 3 or 4 steps along the way, but I feel I do those quite well. Well, L2 passing, graduated recently, 6 months unemployed, want to start my investment journey. After 1 month of reading and semiconductor, everything's still blurry. Any suggestions how to approach this industry? You just jump right in. That's how you do it. Okay, my order's expired. It's 8 o'clock. My after hours order is expired. I have to go to overnight trading. So I'll put my orders in after this. Any suggestions how to approach? Start actually paper trading some of these names. You'll never learn more about a company than when you have some risk, something to risk, right? Or buy a couple of shares of the ones that you're interested in, and you'll start paying more attention to them. And in the end, you have AI. Ask AI questions. The learning is never done, never, ever done. So it's if everything is still blurry, it's that's normal. even after knowing a company for years, I can, when they release numbers, I look at them, I say, okay, well, let me think this through. It still isn't clear to me. I still have to work through it and do a bit of reading. So it's always going to be blurry. What kind of food do you miss the most since you've been on the low glycemic diet? Cherries. Cherries. It was cherry season, or it's cherry season now. So you go into Costco and they have these big trays of beautiful, deep red cherries, and they're good. But high glycemic cherries, it's like chocolate to me. I won't stop eating them. Cherry, cherry. That's me spitting the pits out, because I'll sit in the backyard and I'll just eat it. I'll go through a whole bowl of cherries. I won't stop. I won't stop. So I don't buy cherries anymore. Cherries, cherries, hands down. My girlfriend doesn't listen to any Westerners. Oh, but she makes an exception for you. Oh, you've inspired her. I guess that's good. All right. Where can I find the new market outlook in the applied series? Last vid was on January. Just in YouTube, you uploaded right now. Right now? Market outlook? It's on YouTube every single Sunday. Every single Sunday. Maybe they just don't put it on the site anymore. Maybe that's what they do. Maybe that happened. Maybe they just don't put it on the site anymore. I don't own the IT team, so I have no control over that. Advice for working with a boss who is a lot older and is constantly undermining you and speaks to you in a condescending way. Do they? I know that the current generation, unless they're being told how wonderful they are every couple hours, they feel that, oh, this is a hostile work environment. So I'm going to push back and say, do they talk to you that way? Are they condescending, or are they just not saying, you're such a wonderful person, you're so good at what you do? That's your parents' job, right? That's your parents' job. So, I don't mean to, question your lived experience on this one here. I just, do they? Now, if they do, if they're a lot older and they're constantly undermining you and speak to you in a condescending way, some people just have a certain personality. They don't mean to be abrasive, they just are. So it's just a matter of, when you watch this person, do they treat everybody like that, or is it just you? And if it's just you, ask them. I've done that before with when I find that somebody is just being rude to me for no reason. I'll go up to them and say, I'm sorry, have I done something to upset you? And that fixes things very quickly, because now they have to answer, and you're going to figure it out. And if you haven't, it sort of pushes that out of the way. But I would watch first and make sure that, it's just you. If they're like that with everyone, then it's them. It's just the way they are. It's just the way they are. That's no big deal. You just have to say, that's Larry. Larry's always like that. It doesn't mean anything. Larry means well. He just doesn't come across very well. But if it is just you, and it's not just him forgetting to tell you how wonderful you are, if it's not just your millennial disposition, and there is something really there, then just say, have I done something to upset you? That usually fixes things. Take my CFA level 2 exam. Do you like Carney better than Trudeau? Hands down, yeah. CFA 10 years in sales, private markets, alts. I make 250 to 500 depending on the year. Nice. Considering going PM side, what are your thoughts? I can't answer that for you. You know your thoughts. Most people who ask questions like that, they already kind of know what they want to do. They're looking for some confirmation. They're on the fence of, well, what should I do? What should I do? You're considering it, which means it's intriguing to you. You're going to do what you want to do. Talking it through sometimes helps, but I don't know enough about you to be able to even begin to answer that. Um, if it's something you want to do it. Give us a story about your experience with lawyers. Ay, I don't know that I have any one story. They're all the same, right? Um, the thing you must learn about lawyers is it's about billable hours. Period. 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 It's not about winning your case. It's about billable hours. Billable hours. If you're good for 100 billable hours, your case will take 100 billable hours. If you're good for 10, they'll get you to 10 knowing that you're going to drop it. They're not interested in your victory. They're interested in billable hours because they got to make partner. Billable hours, billable hours, billable hours. If they don't have enough clients, then everybody else has to pay the billable hours. And you don't know. You don't know. They tell you 12 billable hours last month. For what? For what? We didn't do anything. Oh, file review. I did this. I answered that. I logged my time 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there. It's like, well, fuck, I can do that too. Doesn't mean I did it. I'll just say I did 10 minutes here, 15 minutes. Billable hours, billable hours, billable hours, billable hours. That's all they care about, billable hours. You are just a pinata. You are a pinata. Their goal is to get the money out of your pocket into their pocket. That is it. And they'll do it by saying we're a lawyer. I would rather go see a stripper because that's the stripper's goal, is to get the money out of your pocket into their pocket. But at least I will be entertained, you know, in the meantime, with some good conversation. Appreciate it. What do you think of Intuit and their future direction share price? I know nothing about Intuit. How many hours a week, day does your managing your portfolio, making new content for the applied level in your market outlook take? Market outlook is if I don't do a spotlight company, 8 to 12 hours. Spotlight company, add another 30 to 40 hours. But that's also content for the applied level when I do a spotlight company because I always get a PDF out of it. Managing my portfolio, I don't know. I mean, that's always there. It's always in the background. It's always there. I couldn't answer that because it's just a constant that's always there. How can I become an expert if entry level jobs are being eliminated by AI? Yeah, that's a catch 22, isn't it? How do you get to that level when AI just keeps taking it away from you, and it is a moving target? Now, what would I do? Let's say that I was 23, just graduated, got to get out there, get a job. I know how little I can remember how little I knew when I graduated, but I thought I knew a lot, but not really. You passed a bunch of tests and a bunch of courses, and you know a little bit about this topic and that topic, and you know the buzzwords, but you don't really know. Now I need to get a job, and there are just very few jobs available. So what it's going to come down to is, who do I know? Who do I know? What does my social network look like? Who do I know? Who knows me and who likes me? Do I know anybody? And if not, then I'm going to start thinking about, well, I'm going to have to chart my own way. What's a good business I can start? What's something that doesn't take a lot of capital? And if it does take capital, how can I raise money for that? What's my idea? What's my focus? Where am I going to go with this? I would find something. I would find something. No social network, no entrepreneurial skill, third tier, fourth tier college or university with a B minus, C plus average. That's a tough one. You don't want to end up there. You don't want to end up there, which means that the bar is raised all along the way. I find it interesting. what Harvard has done now, that no more than 20% of the grades can be an A because everyone was getting an A. Now, no more than 20%. If you want to get the best out of people, make them compete. Um, and I think that's probably what would create a lot of resilience in people and a good internal locus of control is don't be a job taker, be a job maker. Compete in the real world. Compete for your money. It will bring out the best in you or not, meaning that you don't have the best in you. So, but it is a catch 22. I do understand that. Social network, use that. Came in for the thumbnail. At what point did money not matter for you anymore? Early 40s, mid 40s. Mark, do you agree with the positive stereotype that Canadians are nice people? Everywhere I've lived, there are nice people. I'm not going to say that I didn't meet nice people in Cleveland. I did, even though it was, you know, I felt dangerous part of town. There were still nice people. Same with my time in Florida. There were nice people, and I met the assholes. Same here in Canada. I've met a lot of nice people, and there are assholes. Um, they're everywhere. I don't know that I would say that Canadians are nicer people. I think there are nice people everywhere. Um, it's a less it's a less violent culture, I will say that. Um, Although you can find violence if you want to go looking for it. It's a less violent culture, and I think, um, well, it's less crowded. I mean, we got a big country and only 34, I think 42 million people, and it's an advanced economy. It would be different if it were a poorer country, right? Um, so I don't know that I would say that they're nicer people. I think there are nice people everywhere in contexts that you may not agree with. And a context can change the way people interact with other people, but it doesn't change whether they're nice or not nice. It's all relative, right? Not saying you guys aren't nice, but I don't think you guys are necessarily more nice in other places. I agree with that. I agree. I see Buckeye 9983. I wonder if you're an Ohioan. I like the idea of horns coming out of your head, but the ice versus fire poster before were not bad at all. Did you throw it away? It was the bull. It was the bull picture. No, I didn't throw it away. It's in the garage. Since I have my car parked in there, which makes it look really nice. I wanted to put something nice on the wall right there. But the wall looks empty behind me now, so I need to fill in this part of the white area here. And I think back there, I want to put a door with a frosted glass just to close it off because what you see there is the calendar. I still every year buy a calendar of labs. Every year. Remind me of my friend. Um, Longtime AS subscriber, ended up in private credit, but life had other plans. Life always have other plans. Got fired a month and be working in FP&A for 1.5 years. How do I make it back? What would you do? I don't know what you get fired for, I guess is what I would say. Fired is not the same thing as saying, I got laid off. I got laid off is, well, they thought they'd have more work, but they didn't, or they thought more money would come in, but it didn't. Fired is like, gee, you got to go. you got to go. Um, how do you make it back? I don't know. If you spend too much time looking in your rear view mirror, you can't focus on where you are now and going forward, right? I get that you feel that maybe that's where you want to be, but I think you have to come to terms first with, well, why were you fired? Was it something specific to that job, or was it something specific to you? What would you do if you had $1,000,000? Cry? My God, going from 80 to 1, I would cry. So no, 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 I would not want that now. Quick comment on the live trading thing. Please tell us in advance so I can get the day off. The kind of work I do does not allow me much leeway to multitask. I have plenty of PTO hours. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know when I would do it. Um, because there's different things that I can do. Uh, for volatility, you need volatility. Well, yeah, I guess you don't necessarily need volatility. There's always volatility somewhere, but it's sometimes you don't find the right kind. Momentum is always something fun. Momentum combined with volatility is a lot of fun. Um, yeah, I need at least minimum three. I say a minimum 3 hours because it does require setup. It's not as easy as just saying, "Oh, here's one. Here's what we do." You have to go through a series of steps and you have to go through a series of screens to find just the right targets because otherwise, it's not going to work out well. So it would be about 3 hours. Um, I put a poll up to see who was interested in something like that, and it was overwhelming. It was like I think 400 and over 400 people answered yes. Seven said no. Seven said no, no, no. It's like, well, but why say no? Like, why say no? I don't get that. Why say no? You want to come in the store and see what's on sale? No. Why say no? Why not just go in the store and see what's on sale? Who knows? You might like something. I don't understand the no, but there it was. Seven said no, no. Oh, but yeah, I'll telegraph it ahead of time for sure. Um, what was the style of steak you recommended last time? Pittsburgh. And what sides do you prefer to eat it with? Oh, garlic mash. You can have Pittsburgh. That's black and blue. Very, very difficult to do right. You need a chef that understands what that means, and they have to pay attention to it. It's labor intensive, but it is black on the outside, charred, but blue in the middle. Black and blue. That's Pittsburgh, and you got to have it with garlic mash. Um, you're not going to have that and then some vegetables on the side. No, no, no. Come on now. Yeah. You are going full 666 mode right now with those bullhorns in the back. That was an accident. Um, I just hung it there, and then when I sat down, I realized that if I put my head in a certain place, it does look like they're coming right out of my head, and that was purely an accident. But because I didn't sit down first and do it, I just eyeballed it, and I said, "That's the middle of the wall. That's 30 inches from the ceiling." Put the two clips in so that the thing clips on there, and I sat down. I said, "Oh, look at what I've done." Maybe that's what the 666 was for. Maybe. Have you considered investing in private markets? I have. Um, I have two. One is a private credit with a PIK coupon now. Another one is private equity to a private REIT that is not paying anymore. So both of them, no liquid market, no way out. Both of them, you just got to sit on your hands. So not fun. Oh, it's nice while it pays, but when those sectors go bad on you, that's it. You're done. So it's like this is not fun, right? In your opinion, is buying a house a good investment right now? Well, look, you're going to pay rent somewhere and get nothing for it. You may as well at least, you know, buy equity. Every payment that you make, there's a certain amount that's principal. That is forced savings in a way because your house is going to be will appreciate over time, while your balance on your loan will depreciate over time. So you are making a spread at mortgage rates of 7% now, 6.5, 7%. I don't know that it's worth it, but for raising a family, I think it's the right thing to do. It grounds you, right? What are your thoughts? Okay, well, I lost that one, so let me read from the bottom up, and then we'll wrap up here soon. You're Scottish. No? Favorite Scotch? I don't drink alcohol. Just wrote the level 2 exam, quite sure that I passed. Can I start prepping for level 3 for February? I don't have any control over the content, or I'm not in that business anymore. So sure you can. I just don't know, uh, uh, what you mean. Like if you mean on our site, I don't know. What are your thoughts on AI and income inequality? Will this create a further divide, assisting the income of the 1%? Uh, that's a good question. So you can talk about it in terms of within versus between. Between societies, I would seem to think that it would begin to equalize or lessen the wealth distribution across economies, but within economies, probably uh, lengthen it, or heighten it. Um, yeah, probably. Unless you have some taxation that says you can't own more than this much wealth, in which case that wealth will go to another country. It's not as if somebody's going to sit around and say, "Oh yeah, yeah, no problem. You go ahead and take all my upside. The government's got a call option on my ability. I'm okay with that." No, that's not going to work. Thoughts on Vertiv? It was a spotlight company. But let's face it, a lot of these stocks are massively overvalued at this point, massively overvalued, and you get any pullback in the AI infrastructure trade. All these things can be cut in half in no time. What are your thoughts on the wealth inequality gap in the U.S. in the 60s, 70s? A working parent could afford a family house and able to send kids off to college. It's almost impossible now. It's true. You're right. Well, in the 60s and 70s, the labor participation rate was rather low. It wasn't really until the baby boomers and the women's liberation movement of the 60s that education became really fashionable. So you had a lot more people entering the labor force, which actually kept down wage growth, such that by the 80s, you could not at that point be a single earner unless you were in the top X percent, only because you encouraged so many people to enter the labor force. It actually, I wouldn't say depressed wages, but it certainly depressed the growth rate of wages pre that period of time. And the push to stick everyone in university, get everyone a piece of paper, and encourage everybody, male and female, to work. That staying at home, being a stay-at-home spouse or a stay-at-home parent, is almost looked like on as a failure. Yeah, it would, and the continual movement to monetize almost everything in life. There was a time where you could go to the beach, park, and just walk up to the beach and enjoy yourself. Now you need a parking pass. You got to pay for parking. You got to pay for a pass to be on the beach. You want a towel, you got to pay for the towel. Oh, you wanted a chair to sit on as well. You got to pay for that. Well, you're looking at this angle on the beach versus this angle. This angle is a bit more expensive. Everything is monetized that can be monetized. So it has become much more difficult than in the 70s. Yeah. What's your motivation for continuing to build your wealth investments? I don't do it for wealth anymore. I don't. I don't really. Um, I don't really. Um, I'm not driven by it anymore. Not that you do things for free. I mean, you got to say, well, I mean, what I do has value, I think, but I'm not really driven by it anymore. What's the name of the artist that did the bull on the hood? This guy. Can you see his card? He's got his site there. I don't know if you can see it. Alex at baxo.art. Oh, no, that's his email. Just email Google Baxo Art. He's an illuminist. You know what I'm saying. He works with aluminum, and it ends with an ism. Aluminism. Yeah, you know what I mean. Aluminism. Best concert I've ever been to. Paul McCartney, I think. What kind of car do you have? Are you a car guy? Not really. I got a 2025 Z06. You get a sense to make it a master's in AI? I don't know. Without seeing the curriculum, what are your thoughts on Michael Burry? There are people out there, I think, that their reputations are made on a trade, but there's not a lot of follow through on that reputation. They made it on a trade, and they got a certain amount of fame for that, and then there's no real follow through on it that is as big or insightful. And I think they spend the rest of their life looking to recapture that one big trade again. He's got a platform. He's got a voice. People listen to him because he made a life defining trade. I don't know so much that anything else has really worked out very well. His Lululemon didn't. Not working out that well for me either, but I don't have the position that he has. Name of the artist. Okay, thank you. Do you think Coca-Cola is the tastiest soft drink? No, I do not. A&W root beer is the tastiest soft drink, hands down. Anyone who disagrees obviously has some kind of mental deficiency and should probably seek therapy. I want to see you do well in life. So, if you think that there's anything better than A&W root beer, maybe you got that from your parents. I don't know. You have my pity. Nike payout ratio is about 100%. Let's wait for the dividend cut and price drop. Then it'll be a good entry. All right. What is a paper you read religiously? Paper. I don't read paper. I like the Wall Street Journal. I think that's what you mean. What is a publication? Paper is you're dating yourself. What is a publication? Wall Street Journal is nice. I don't know that I'd say I read it religiously, though. Every time I listen to your sessions, I feel I come away smarter and better informed. Good. I love cherries. Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Show of hands. Who says cherries? Ugh. Who doesn't like cherries? It's like pineapple. It's a surefire win. What fruit should we serve for breakfast? Pineapple. You're gonna win. You're gonna win. What should we put in the salad? Cherries. You're gonna win. What should we serve it with? Root beer. Root beer and cherries with a pineapple side. That's a breakfast of champions right there. I'm currently trying to break into private wealth management or planning at high tier RIA, but AI scares the shit out of me. Well, it shouldn't. Um, there is something terrifying for individuals to rely on AI to manage the thing that's most personal to them, which is their wealth. There will always be people who will attempt to do it themselves with no experience, lose, and then seek out a financial manager to say, "Can you get me out of trouble?" No, no. Listen, AI exists, but I am in no way going to run a new electrical line if I need it. I'm calling an electrician. AI exists, but I'm not fixing my own truck at all. AI exists, but I'm not going to self-diagnose my health issues. It exists, but I'm not going to do these things. It exists, but I guarantee you, people who are busy in their lives, who are building wealth, who are not in the business of wealth, are still going to use a financial advisor. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. SpaceX IPO will be top of the market. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a big one. What are your thoughts on the wealth inequality? I already did that. You recently did a podcast interview. Why do you do so few? Um, if it's about CFA, I'll do them. If it's about my views on the market, I'd rather not. There is a YouTube crowd that loves doing that. They're on everybody's channel, and I think you know the names. You can name them. I'd rather not do that. It's not my thing. Um, yeah, it's not really my thing. I would like to send you a list of questions and do an online interview. Will you do that? Well, yeah. I mean, send me the questions. I'll look at them. Um, Although I'll be honest with you, I find that prepared questions don't really make for a very good interview. Um, like if I know what the questions are, that doesn't really make for a good interview. You can send me the topic as opposed to the questions themselves, but the best interviews are ones that don't know exactly what they're going to ask as question number 7 or number 8. That their question evolves with the conversation. So you ask something as an opener, and I answer it, and you say, "Well, you say this. Well, what about this?" That you're actually listening and you're evolving with the questions. But question number 1, blah blah blah, and I answer, "Okay, great." Question number 2, that doesn't make for a very good interview at all. There should be this give and take, this pushback in certain places. Um, but yes, go ahead, send me something. I mean, if I like it, I like it. Have you ever been in the Middle East? No, I have not. Um, Dangerous place, I hear. Um, Missiles, drones. Haven't been there. No, no, no. But the news doesn't look good, my friends. The news doesn't look good. Is SpaceX IPO overvalued? Of course. I think it is an exit for the pre-IPO investors. They always are. Always are. Do you think being born in a first world country is a blessing? Absolutely, it is. Absolutely, 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 it is. Having lived in Costa Rica, living there, I have a place there. Living there 4 or 5 months a year, and then living here, I can see how it is structurally almost impossible if you're poor to rise. It is there. You have structural issues along with a corrupt government. All the governments are corrupt. All the governments are corrupt in Latin America. They're all corrupt, and all government officials, almost all government officials, are also corrupt. Money in an envelope will get you any permit you want. Period. 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 You need a permit to put a well on your property. If you're not getting the permits because you're not putting enough money in an envelope and giving it to someone, everyone's corrupt. Everyone, and poor. So you're not going anywhere in that country. Not without her Herculean, Herculean effort. Um, Whereas in Western democracies, it is much easier. So when I see people struggling in living on the street and struggling in places like the US and Canada, I think it's not society's fault. This is no, you don't lay this on society's shoulders. It's not society's fault because you have every opportunity in this country. You want to see a place where it's society's fault? I can show you places where it no matter what you do is going to be brutally difficult to break your way out of that poverty. Um, that's why they want to go to America. They're not emptying out their prisons and their mental institutions. It's just if you keep screaming, we're number one, taking pictures of your muscle cars, your pickup trucks, your guns, and your Lambos, don't be surprised when people show up at your front door saying, "Can I come in? It's cold out here." Right? So it's the majority of people who were crossing that border were doing it out of pure desperation, escaping a system where they would be poor the rest of their lives. They weren't criminals. Now, were some criminals in there? Sure. You can walk into a church with 100 people, 10 of them are pure assholes. That's just the distribution of things in the world. And I guarantee you, in a group of 100 parishioners at a church, there's at least 3 of them that are sexual deviants, maybe a pedophile in there, and probably at least 1 murderer. It's just the distribution in the population, right? So yeah, some criminals went in, but the majority of them were just poor and desperate. Yes, they broke the law. Yes, they shouldn't have come across that border. And yes, you have to have laws. You have to have laws. But if you keep saying we're number one, oh, we have the best, and look how great we're doing. Don't be surprised if people show up, right? If you have a house party and you're playing good music and everyone's having fun, don't be surprised if your neighbors show up saying, "Can I come in? Can I come in?" Or people showing up who weren't even invited. All right. I don't even know what the question was anymore. Oh, yeah, being born in a first world country, a blessing. It absolutely is. Have you discussed the Codelco controversy yet? I don't know. What's the Codelco controversy? No. Have you ever met a famous celebrity? Yes. Trying to think of the ones I have met. Not that many. I mean, I've seen some out in public. I think the one that I met and talked to the longest was Edgar Winter. And I was actually in his trailer just before he did a concert because I knew the promoter, and the promoter said, "You want to meet the guy?" I said, "Yeah, fucking right I do. Frankenstein, you're damn right I want to meet the guy." So we chatted for a while, and he was a nice guy. Nice guy. Oh, I did meet Gowan way back in the 80s. I remember that. Gowan, asshole. He was just a prick. Oh, and you know who else was a prick? Bruce Coburn. He's a prick. He's just a prick. Just a prick. Just this. But Edgar Winter, you wouldn't know, that he was, a famous, important guy. He talked to you like an ordinary person. I like that guy. Do you watch any TV series? Not really. Not really. I will be in Montreal for the race this weekend. Do you have any recommendations for restaurants? The Keg, there's a nice one in Old Montreal. What do you think about capital markets in the Caribbean? I don't know anything about capital markets in the Caribbean. Justin Dustbin Trudeau and Jagmeet Jerk Meat Junk Meats. How do you really feel about the guy? Jagmeet, Jerk Meat, Junk Meat Singh, Ruin Canada. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. For someone as thoughtful and intelligent as you, how do you deal with the lack of common sense in society today? Was there ever any common sense, really? I mean, is it that you feel there's no common sense, or is that in a polarized society, it seems that half the people are nutso. The U.S. is very polarized right now, probably the most polarized it's ever been. And in a situation like that, I mean, you watch Fox News, you think the other side's absolutely insane. You watch MSNBC, you think the other side's absolutely insane. there's a little bit of truth and a whole lot of lies on both sides. The majority of people are middle, who say, "Well, I got it's a two-party system. I got to pick a side." You know, I think there's a lot of common sense once you decide what side you're on, and there's a big lack of common sense if you decide you're deeply in one side. I'm on team red. Half the country is insane. I'm on team blue. Half the country is racist and insane. It's not helpful. It doesn't get you anywhere. But if you decided to talk about anything else than politics, anything else, you would say, well, okay, yeah, these are all rational people. You know, they have opinions about things that are pretty much the same opinions I'd have, except I'm not wearing that ugly red hat. Or if you are wearing that ugly red hat, you think, well, I'd have the opinion that these people have, except why aren't they wearing a beautiful red hat? uh, what do you think about swords instead? Oh, you mean right there? I don't know if I'm a sword guy. But yeah, I get that. A shield with two swords, like really nice swords, but I'm not one of those people who are going to buy cheap swords. I'd have to go looking for a really good sword. Um, that's a good point. Yeah, that would kind of look neat, but this is the wrong house for swords. This is the wrong house. No, no, I don't know that swords would look good there. No, 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 no. We'll see how the wolf pelts look. If not, we're gonna see how the grizzly looks on that wall. Like, just put the grizzly on the wall. Oh, that'd look wild. We'll see. Do you have a phase in life where you became a bit too indulgent or hedonistic? Yeah, yeah. I was in my early 30s. I had sold a business. I had about a little over 400,000, and that was a lot back then. Decided to retire, so I moved to Florida for 6 months. Stayed with this on this in this one place with this other guy who was, well, let's call he for better choice of a word. He was retired as well, but he was older than I was, about 10 years older. But just partied, jet skied, and partied for 6 months straight. I don't like smoking weed. I never did. But I at that time I did enjoy hash, which was a more mellow thing. And 6 months, yeah, 6 months, six beautiful, wonderful months. And then after 6 months, it's like, well, I'm a Canadian. I can't be here longer than 6 months. I do have to get going. And I was ready to go back. It was like, okay, I got that all out of my system. But oh yeah, 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 yeah. I remember about 3 of those months. That's how indulgent I was. Canada's a joke. Trudeau tore it apart, and the mass immigration destroyed the fabric. Square one in Mississauga is unrecognizable, and you would agree. Um, well, I think that the level of immigration that the Trudeau government had was unfair on both sides. Unfair for the Canadians that existed here because you had to squeeze in because they all just went to 4 different cities, and the cities got overly crowded, which made living difficult for you. Unfair for them because many of them were let in without any test to determine whether or not they would be successful in this country. And quite a few of them, I think we ended up having some of the largest out migration as well, where people saying, "Fuck this, I'm going home. This country sucks." So, sometimes you try to be compassionate and you end up doing the wrong thing. Thoughts on the current state of Canada's outlook for the next decade? I don't really know. I think we're set up good for the next decade. I think we have good resources, good assets, and finally good leadership. Talk to us about the Orange King. Listen, he's everywhere, right? You don't need me to tell you about it. I mean, you have eyes. How many countries have you visited so far? 7. 7. Russia, Italy, Spain, Costa Rica, Panama, US, Canada. 7. Talk to us about will you ever think about building the applied series so I don't have to choose one or the other? It was bundled before, but I unbundled it, figuring that you'll lean one side or another. But yeah, I mean, sure. I'm from Singapore and we're struggling with our total fertility rate. Massive problem, but what solutions do you think could plausibly? Just something that simple. You want me to solve a whole country's fertility problem in a YouTube question? Let me get right on that. Have you tried bull semen? Yeah, I don't know. Um, does it matter? I mean, is it a problem? If it's not a problem, I don't know. Why not just start having sex? Crazy thought just popped into my head right now. Have more sex. Will you ever think about that moving to Sydney in July? And I feel like the applied energy analyst would really set me apart. But since the course is for U.S. markets, so should I still go for it? No, it's not for U.S. markets. It's global. The when we talk about exploration and production, that's anywhere. I use the U.S. as a good example, but exploration and production is the same everywhere. Whether it is offshore, whether it is in shale, or whether it is in traditional pools. Distribution is the same. A pipeline is the same, no matter where the pipeline exists. No, it's not specific to the U.S. I use the U.S. and I use U.S. companies, but oil drilling, oil services, refining is the same anywhere in the world. It's the same. A refinery in the Middle East is the same as a refinery on the Gulf Coast. They may be set up for different blends. They may have a different Nelson index, but they are the same. Everything is the same globally. Same with mining. Mining is, if you're copper mining, whether it's in South America, whether it's in Indonesia, whether it's in the US, it's exactly the same. Depending on the type of ore, whether it's oxide or sulfide ore, it's exactly the same. So, no, I wouldn't say it's US centric at all. So, no, I wouldn't say that. Got to have money to afford love. Why do you have ball at your back? That's not ball. That's just a bull. But I get what you're saying. Trying to understand the career ROI of applied energy analyst program. The curriculum looks useful, but our employers hire based on signals they trust. This is true. So take the curriculum and give it to an employer and say, what do you think about this? If I went through this, and you can say, look, it's the same guy who did CFA, taught the CFA for years in the CFA space. Most people would recognize my name. They may not know me, but they'd recognize it at least. I think I come with a certain amount of credibility. But you're right. It is about credibility. Let's assume that this had incredible credibility. You think it's going to be $195 and $75 an exam? No freaking way. It's going to be $2,000, easy, because now I'm selling you something. I'm selling you something of extreme value. That's the pathway. That is the goal. Is to bring it up to those levels. But initially, it's good content. And just share it with your employer. Just show them. Say, look, hey, read a few of the readings. Here you go. Read a few. Tell me what you think. And whoever is running whatever energy fund you want to be part of, or whoever your boss is, as they read it, they're going to recognize that, okay, this is not a light treatment. There was GARP had ERP before, energy risk, the energy risk. They have the FRM, financial risk manager. They had ERM, sorry, energy risk manager. What I have is far deeper than what the ERM offered, far deeper than what it offered. So share it with your employer. Just, I have no problem with that, right? How do you suggest finding exactly what niche you want to do in terms of financial careers? There are two ways to think about that. There's this idea that this is what I want to do, and you're going to go after that. The other way of thinking it is what will I be doing, and maybe I'll get into that. I have been through my life, I think, lucky enough to be interested in most things I was doing. Some things I wasn't. Figured that out fairly quickly, but I can get interested in almost anything that I'm working on. So, am I set up for any one particular thing, or am I set up to love whatever it is that I do? Think about it that way. Think a PhD in STEM is worth it if aiming for a highly technical role such as quant research? PhD is not going to help you there. A PhD is not more masters. A PhD is a very different degree. It is a research degree. It's to make you a researcher so that you produce new knowledge in the field. So it's heavy on the philosophy of knowledge and the production of new knowledge, and it's really about research methodology and research questions and getting in touch with the literature and filling gaps in the literature and moving the field forward. Um, if you want a really technical job, a technical role like quant research, you don't need the PhD to get that done, because a PhD it's a very different degree. It's not just a supercharged master's degree. Favorite fast food joint? Hard to say. Um, in the burger space, got to be Burger King. Um, but I don't eat fast food. I can't remember the last time I had any kind of burger at all. Um, the pizza space, that's a hard one. Depends on the city that you're in. Um, chicken, I would say Popeyes. Like, it really depends. Mm, just drape the bear fur on the gaming chair. What's your favorite dessert? Uh, Probably cheesecake would be my favorite. If it's on the menu, probably that would be my go-to. I score high. I have solid system, but my pace is not convincing. Barely 2 to 3 LMS per week. Mm. Um, I don't know how to answer that. I mean, I score high, but my pace is not convincing. Not convincing. Not convincing who? Not convincing the what? You score high. I mean, your process is giving you the right output. I'm not following what the issue there is. When were you working at the university? Did you ever think about switching to a corporate job? Not really. No. No. Did you look at recent depreciation in INR against USD? Nope. As an L2 candidate, would really love to know your thoughts on this and what's the main factor causing it. Well, probably the amount of energy that needs to be imported, I imagine. Let's scroll to the bottom. I'm going to finish up here soon. I've been doing this for, where's my counter? 2 hours and 4 minutes. A couple more questions and then we'll go. Any tips on health insurance as a solo self-employed entrepreneur in Canada? What did I have? We had who did we use? Sun Life. For our company, we use Sun Life. Um, there are plans that you can just join that are you don't need a bunch of employees. But you just, I think, call Sun Life and see what they have. But there are certain plans that you can join. This is Canada now. I don't know about the U.S. I don't know about the U.S. Have you decided between Japan and Thailand? No, not yet. Leaning Japan, I think, though. Take on techno feudalism, big tech as feudal lords, and capitalism dying. I don't buy that. No. Have big companies gotten too big? Yeah, but this was sort of predicted 100 years ago. Is that if there are efficiency gains and margins that could be captured with integration, why is the whole economy not one big firm? And the conclusion was diseconomies of scale is that the communication and transaction costs of a company that large would start to work against itself. But in a world of technology, that size, that the size where diseconomies of scale come into play are, you're talking about much bigger companies. So it is possible today that the whole economy could be one company. But you had antitrust laws that were enforced. Now it seems that it's not really there. We know that there are some companies that have a stranglehold on certain things where you have no choice. The App Store, I think, should be broken up from Apple. The idea that you buy this phone and you can only download apps on the phone that go through their store, and if you have an app that you want on these, they take a certain amount of your revenue right away. They want a certain percentage of your success, and you have no choice. And you can't just open another app store. That's a monopoly. That's a problem, don't you think? That's a monopoly. But where are the trust busters today? Non-existent. Because if you put enough money in an envelope and you give it to the president, you're good. Or you threaten to fund somebody else running in their primary. So we'll just fund the other side and you're good. You don't actually have to bribe anyone. You just have to threaten to bribe somebody else. So government has gotten too concerned about power and their own wealth and less concerned about what they're there for, which is you. I would say that most politicians today don't give a shit about you. Period. End of story. You're just useful for a vote. Once they get your vote, fuck you. I don't give a shit about you or your life. I don't want to hear about your troubles. I don't want to hear about your problems. You don't matter to me. If there was truth in politics, that's what you would hear. Let's see. One more, and then I'm going to get going here. Blah 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 blah. Just no. I heard you speak about how AI could lead to deflation. How would deflation be reflected in corporate earnings? Well, lower corporate earnings, obviously. Do you think the improvement in margins would offset the loss in revenue? Oh, margin. Well, I'm sure they would do everything they can to preserve their margins. Whether the profit would be as high, like, I mean, you can keep 80-point margins as your revenues decline. You would probably decrease your cost to keep 80-point margins, but your profitability or your profits Margin is profitability. Absolute number is profits. Your profits would decline because everyone can do it. Everyone can do it. A startup can come along and create a business model like you have without all the legacy costs. So if you're going to get abundance because of AI, abundance, more supply, lower prices. That's just the way it works, right? All right. Okay. It is 9:35, and I am going to log off. Where are we in our market tonight? Energy right back up again. Treasuries, what color do you think they are? They're red. They're red. Metals, red. Futures, green, blah, 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 blah. Well, there we are. For those of you in the applied level, I will see you tomorrow at 8:15 for our pre-market, our Friday pre-market. Okay. Ciao. Bye.